I'm just going to go through a couple of slides. It'll only take me a few minutes. I'm just going to talk a little bit, very briefly, about what's coming up next in terms of Boost specifically. As we mentioned a couple times today, this is our last longer learning session, but Boost is not technically over. It's going to continue on for a couple of months. That being said, something else that we've also talked about is not thinking about it as, coming to an end, more so shifting that mindset to thinking about sustaining the improvements that all of you have made so far. So, like I said, we're here at the closing Congress. It's our last kind of longer learning session, but we do have some key upcoming dates. In terms of educational events, we have just one more webinar, which is coming up in March 7th, 8 to 9. We will share more info on that on the listserv and in emails in the coming weeks. We will continue with the monthly reporting. So teams will be encouraged to report for January and for February. So the next reporting deadline is coming up next week, actually, Feb 9th. So that is upcoming. And then again, for February, the reports will be due Wednesday, March 8th. So those are just some key upcoming dates. Again, I don't expect you to remember these. We'll share communications about this. In terms of other things, of course, as you've been doing, we do encourage you to continue, to meet regularly as a team. We always say this, and then continue to meet with Kelsey or with Michelle if you can, or if it's needed. Like I said, that webinar on March 7th and the monthly reporting will continue. We also have started these bi-weekly Q&A sessions. You've probably seen those in emails, and we did send an invite out to everyone. So these are bi-weekly, just over lunch, 12 to 12:30. And it's really just a casual space for 30 minutes to drop in and out of. You don't need to register. You just click the link. And it's our core team who's there. And it's just for, a casual space to ask any questions you have, whether they're clinical questions, whether they're about quality improvement, anything that comes to mind. We're there for those 30 minutes to just, discuss and to answer any questions that you have. Sorry, Kelsey, you raised your hand.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that again, that Jamboard link, it's been posted in the chat a couple of times. So that is also copied into the meeting invite that we sent out. So if you lose sight of it, you can use it that way. If you can't make it to that Q&A for whatever reason, just throw your questions in there and we can certainly discuss them as a group and provide some feedback afterwards. So.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Kelsey. In addition to that, I always remind folks about our email listserv. It is listed there. You receive, every time you receive an email from the Boost Collaborative email, it is going to that listserv, or most of the time it's going to that email address. It's actually nearly 300 people from across BC on that list who either used to participate in Boost when it was in Vancouver or when it was provincial and have wanted to remain on there. So it is to be used as a resource. Obviously it's a little scary to send an email and have it go to 300 people, but if you really think that, you can share something that is, maybe a resource that you have or a question that's very relevant, don't hesitate to share it out on there. And just a reminder about, our Boost website. The link is there. It's really a wealth of quality improvement resources and resources and tools that we've collected over the years of Boost, as well as previous recordings of all of our sessions and slides. So that's just a reminder that's there. Another upcoming thing I've mentioned a couple times, you will be receiving another data summary report. So again, just that snapshot of data at the team level compared to the collaborative as a whole. I know I've said this before, not meant to be, comparing teams to one another, just kind of, an encouragement and, just to see a snapshot of the data and some of the progress that all of you are making. So keep an eye out for those. I won't go really over this. I know you've probably seen this slide a million times. Just will say again, it bears repeating, it seems like a lot of work, but just try to, I guess, dedicate just a little bit of time, either every day or every week, to continue with this work. Really helps. And as always, our Boost Core team is always here if you have a question. Most of you know my personal email by now, but you can also reach us at the Boost Collaborative email. And our steering committee is really a group of people who have a lot of knowledge and skills, and we're here. Any of us are here to help you at any time. So yeah, I just wanted to say, before I pass it over to Debbie for closing remarks, I just wanted to say, yeah, it's been an amazing 8 months to see all of the great work that all of you are doing. I also wanted to thank the core team, though, all of the help, all of their hard work, Cole, Honke, Andrew, Michelle, Kelsey. We've heard a lot today about what a superstar Kelsey's been working with the teams. So I just wanted to thank you all so far. And yeah, we will see how it goes over the next couple of months. Next up, I'm going to pass it over. Oh, there's that animation there. I'm going to pass it over to Debbie Morris. Debbie is she's the director of the Mental Health and Substance Use Network with Interior Health, and she's a sponsor of the Interior Boost Collaborative from the Interior Health side of things. So yeah, welcome, Debbie, and thank you for joining us today. And I'll pass it over to you if you're ready.
Totally ready, and thank you so much, Angie. I really appreciate your introduction and comments. So again, very proud to be sponsoring the work of this team. Amazing work. 8 months. I think sometimes when you start out, it can feel like that's going to be a long journey, but I'm sure it's absolutely flown past for most of you. I'm super proud to be here today, and in some small way, kind of in partnership with the BC Centre for Excellence in HIV and AIDS, as we come to the end of this collaborative. Of course, it would be remiss of me not to recognise, and I'm sure you've touched upon this many times, that we've had yet another unprecedented year in opioid-related deaths in the interior. In 21-22, the rate of toxic drug poisonings in interior health was 45.7 deaths per 100,000. And that is comparable to Vancouver Coastal. It's higher than the provincial average. And I would say, I know, to my comment earlier, what a weight that can add to some of our teams, and the impacts, the emotional impacts that have on folks that are really trying to face this head on, with all of the limitations of health care settings these days and the challenges that we're facing. Despite all of that, I think the commitment that we see to this work, the passion for this work, just leaves me kind of breathless at times. You know, we continue despite all of the challenges in front of us. And certainly I cannot thank each and every one of you enough for that. So thinking about perhaps what's happened over the past 8 months, I've certainly heard just a snippet in the time I've been with you today about the journey, learning new ways of kind of being together, working together, spreading kind of those new ways to people who use our services. We really want to kind of recognise and appreciate all of the hard work and progress that's been made, and that seeing the increase in the number of clients retained on OAT for 3 months or more has been fairly significant, and so really congratulations on that accomplishment. I think certainly I've been hearing a little bit around some of the new and improved kind of networking, problem solving. You know, it takes a team, takes a village, or whatever the saying is, sometimes when we're doing really, really hard work like this, with multiple challenges, some of which we can only change by influence, and are really, you know, sometimes it feels harder to grasp than other pieces. And I think looking at that, reflecting on the work ahead, you know, it really is about continuing to kind of build on some of those improvement ideas that we've heard. And I have been kind of at a distance from some of this work, but certainly heard about some of the changes and ideas that have come forward. So understand that we've kind of done work around how we better gather some of that contact information in our referral forms, multiple ways of reaching out and connecting with clients, using telehealth appointments. We heard the comment earlier about automated text reminders, trialing daily medication deliveries, and the education around Sublocade as well, just as a couple of ideas that I've been made aware of that come out of some of this work. So it's crucial really that our system continues its efforts to shift care from kind of more of a proactive approach to the reactive stage that it can sometimes feel like we've been in. And I think, you know, whenever we're in a healthcare emergency that lasts for the length of time we've been in this one, it really does need some of that strategic kind of thinking aligned to it. It's not, we can't just react. This work is really a start of a journey. It's just the beginning, and it's going to be really important to ensure that teams, kind of this new way of working, will continue to evolve in the future. And we share the learnings that, you know, you've been able to take from the collaborative and the journey you've been on for the past 8 months. So keep moving forwards, recognize that this work is tough work. Very often it can feel a little bit like 1 step forward and 2 steps back. But to my comment earlier, you know, at the Toxic Drug Supply Task Force, when we are all feeling that challenge, it's often our peers and the people that are using our service that remind us that sometimes we have to take a moment, look behind and see how far we've come. Congratulations to every single one of you on the call, and thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. I almost started clapping there, but then I realized I was on mute and I'm pretty much alone in a room. So thanks very much for joining. We do appreciate you taking the time to join us today.